7 p.m., August 17th, 2019.
I've had some people ask me about how this show went, and that had just happened like over a week ago. People have been asking about it, considering I didn't post any pictures or videos or really anything regarding the show right after it happened. I kind of just moved on from it. Even more so, right after it happened, I actually took a break from social media for a little bit, which actually felt good, by the way, I'm not gonna lie. I totally recommend people do that every now and then. Just take a break from it. You don't need that being shoved down your throat all the time, so just log out every now and then. It feels great. So yeah, it took like a 4-day break from Snapchat and Instagram, and honestly, a big part of that was me just really not wanting to deal with the questions of how did it go, why aren't you posting anything about it, you know? So I just decided, you know what, I'm not only am I not gonna post, I'm not gonna deal with anybody asking me about it over the phone, you know, just like, I don't know, I just wasn't ready to deal with it yet. A big part of that was really just me collecting my thoughts and trying to put together how it is I really felt about how the whole thing went. So you guys have been asking me about it, so I'm gonna go ahead and have a little discussion about it. And before we really get into the nitty-gritty of everything, I just want to start off by saying thank you to every single person that came out. I don't want to dive into this having not said that, because it would seem like I'm taking you guys for granted, and not by any means am I doing that. I'm grateful that you guys were there. I would have looked like a real idiot if nobody would have been there. So like, really, thank you. It means more than it might come across as being later on, but like, it means a bunch. So with that being said, let's just get into it. This was actually like a year-long process for me being able to put together. The thought of this was fresh in my mind. The serious thought of it was fresh in my mind about this time a year ago, actually. I just figured I needed to start doing something with this music thing. If I was really going to be serious, if I was this serious about it, I figured, you know, I got to do something with it. It wasn't until probably mid-spring, so it was probably, I think it was March or April, that I actually came to John about this whole thing, where I was like, you know, I want to put on a concert. And I wasn't even talking to him about like him doing it with me and bringing his band with him to do the show with me. I was just asking him for ideas. I was asking him for pointers, basically. But when it got down to it, he was like, you know, I want to help you put this whole thing together. I want to help you do this successfully. He brought his band out. Some assembly required. God bless all of them. I love them all. They're great people. And yeah, I was like, okay, cool. Now I have a team of people I can work on this with. But even still, I was actually kind of alone in it. This was still kind of a solo project for me. I'm the one handling the payments. I'm the one making sure we can actually get on the calendar and keep our spot. And honestly, it was actually not a bad experience. I would totally do it again, even after the show. I'm going to talk about all the cons later, but I want to get into the pros first. The pros were having a group of people to work with, so I knew I wasn't alone in this. It was still a kind of a solo project for me at the same time. It makes sense when you think about it, but I can see how it doesn't at the same, whatever. I also liked having somebody else to work with for my set, you know. The wonderful Ashland, I had her come in to do the show with me. I mean, she's a phenomenal performer. I'd always wanted to share the stage with her, and this was my opportunity to do that. The weird thing about that, though, is that, I mean, we're going to get into it later, but that actually kind of backfires a little bit, which is kind of funny and
not at the same time. So
I mean, I loved the whole experience. Just having that first time experience is huge for me. I mean, I've been wanting this for as long as I've been doing this, essentially, you know, which is 4.5 years. I mean, I shared my beats publicly for the first time back in the 8th grade over the big speakers with the live DJ, nagging him and just getting him to play one of my beats, which, listening back to it now, kind of sounds like garbage, but like, when you're in middle school, you think everything's fire, so. But yeah, from there, I took it serious, and I've been wanting to do a live performance since then, and this was my opportunity to really do that. And yeah, like I said, I am thankful for everybody that showed up. It was phenomenal. The only thing I would really have to say about that is that there were 4 different communities in the crowd. In one specific area of the auditorium, there is my family. On the complete other side is my youth group, Another group of people that was there is just a friend group that I met at my high school, and it was really cool of them to show up. I love you guys. And then the fourth is basically just the general public or people associated with SAR, some assembly required. And I don't know them like that. I see them around town. That's about it. And the weird thing for me was that the number that I threw out there as a rough estimate for how many people I was expecting was
200.
And then at the end of the night, when you really do the math of how many people were there, there was only 60 people at this show, which for a first-time experience, now that I think about it, really isn't a bad number. But considering that I set the bar way up here for not even half of what my expectations were to be met, it made me pretty bitter, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, I was pretty salty about it, and I think it was evident to everybody after the show that I wasn't really happy at all. With that being said, I just want to apologize to Keegan and Ashland and everyone in some assembly required for not getting a chance to say good job or whatever, simply saying good night. I honestly feel bad about it because I feel like it's a courtesy that I need to extend to the people I'm sharing the stage with. It hurts me because I couldn't leave on a good note as far as my associates were concerned. They're the ones doing this with me. I want to end on a positive note. But that didn't happen, and that most of that could be my fault, and I apologize. Another thing about it was getting paid. I'm just gonna throw this out there early on, just so I don't make it like the high point, like the super climactic point that's a make or break for me, because it's not. It really doesn't matter. I really don't care as much about the money as getting a good experience, because that's obviously what it's about. But here's the thing. Like I said, only 60 people showed up to this show. Not a bad number. I still felt kind of underappreciated, if I'm being completely honest. Because, keep in mind, I was talking to probably over 100 people who were saying that they were excited for me and that they wanted to come. And I even talked to some people about coming, and they said that they couldn't because of either work reasons, school reasons, moving into the dorms and whatever. Quick side note, just shout out to all my college kids watching this. I love all you guys. If you like freshman year of college, let me know, because I still don't know if I actually want to go to college yet. On side note for that, no, I'm not playing favorites by wearing this hoodie. It was in my closet. I'm from Kansas. I felt like wearing it today. Bite me. But anyways, back to what I was saying. For the most part, I think the way we handled payments, it was split right down the middle. So half of it went to John and his band, and the other half came to me. So after all the rental fees and stuff were paid and everybody got their share, I came out with $80, which basically means I'm reaping the benefits from 16 of all 60 people showing up. So not even a third of the people that were actually there. That's as good as inviting my entire choir, the entirety of what was my favorite choir to be in high school. If you're from OHS, you do the numbers on that, you know what I'm talking about. It'd be just as good as opening the show to just them and seeing what they think. And to a degree, they already have their approval. So it's because I've already done a portion of this show for them already once or twice. So what am I gonna do, And I guess on that note, there's a number of people that I could have anticipated really coming. And the only reason I would anticipate is because I really wanted them to. If I'm being honest, for the most part, I didn't really care who showed up. Because, there's just a big chunk of people that I kind of just figured they would anyway. And looking back now on that, I can see how big-headed I was in thinking that. But also, there was just a small community of people that I genuinely just wanted to be there. And I cared if they actually showed up. But they weren't anywhere to be found. It's not like most of them just didn't want to go or just weren't there, just none of them were there. And seriously, I sent out this VIP invitation, and not VIP as in there would have been a VIP discount or anything. Just saying that basically saying these are the people that I want to be there. If you're seeing this, if you're getting this invitation, then that means I want you there. And none of them really showed up, which kind of sucks. I'm not holding it against you by any means. I can see how it might seem like I'm being really bitter, which I guess to a degree I still am. I can just see how like everything about this show was really taking a toll on me, and I was being super pessimistic at the very end of it and not wanting to see the good in it, you know, because like of course there are going to be sound issues. Like anybody who was there knows how ridiculous the first sound error was, and probably the only one that they even noticed, because the first song of my set, I did it instrumentally because my microphone wouldn't work. And the reason for that is because neither one of the microphones that I could have been using was plugged in the right way. So we had to start the show completely over after I had already done the first song one time. So yeah, my introduction wasn't as epic as I could have hoped it to be, but you know, it is what it is. And then the other sound error happened, ironically enough, at the very end of the night, where me and Ashland both were supposed to be on stage playing guitar. But I don't know what happened exactly, but we ended up screwing up our sound system, the way we had our sound set up, that only one of us was going to be able to be on stage. Instead of both of us being on stage, her being on electric guitar, me on acoustic guitar, it just had to be me on acoustic guitar, which wasn't bad. I just really wanted to be able to really share the stage with her. I mean, it was cool that I could share my set with her, you know, and we kind of worked in 20-minute increments and just taking turns being on and off stage, which was awesome. She absolutely killed it. Shout out to you, Ashland. You are amazing. And just like, I don't know, just some really petty things that wouldn't typically bother somebody, you know, like the average viewer, the average listener, just if you were there casually just wanting to watch the show, I mean, I can understand why you might think it's kind of ridiculous, but I mean, it's whatever. This whole thing has been a whacked out learning experience that really hits you where it counts. Like, if this is something you want to do, like, this is what I have some tips for you guys. Advertisement is key.
Advertisement is key. Advertisement is key.
You can put it all over social media if you want. Like, for those of you that have me on Snapchat and Instagram, you know I was talking about it literally
Every single day this summer.
just hyping this show up into something that it ultimately was not really. Word of mouth is still very, very important. I understand that to a degree social media is kind of the new word of mouth, considering you don't have to click on something that you don't want to click on. Nobody's going to force you to look at something, you know. But that can be a curse, because that's when people may not want to see what it is you're talking about because they're just not interested. But like actually getting the word out, putting it on the street, you know, that's where I went wrong. My advertisement for this was actually done very, very poorly, and I'm willing to admit that. I mean, this is a first-time experience. This was a learning experience for me, and really, I like to thank everybody involved. Like, this is a learning experience for me. It was for Ashland. It might have been for SAR, even though this isn't their first rodeo. This isn't their first show, you know. This isn't the first one they've ever done. It's definitely not going to be the last one either. So I say all this to just put it out there that, like, it's important that you use your resources, but you also have to use your resources, if you know what I mean. You can't just rely on a certain source wholeheartedly and then not turn to another one and expect exactly what you want to happen. And on that note, considering it's a first time experience for you, you can't expect exactly what you want to happen. You can't expect really anything close to that. And for me, that was hard. Like, even after I thought I ultimately had that idea, like, drained into my mind. Like, if I drilled it I thought I had it drilled into my brain, but even still, I just didn't know, because I was just so disappointed with the way things went. And this will be my last thing I have to say about it. There's going to be people that you really want to care. There's going to be people that you think care. And they probably give less of a than anybody out there that could possibly be watching your stuff. And I say that really just not to put you guys down or like discourage you, but I say that just to put it out there. It's God's honest truth, you know. Like the people that you want to care the very most are probably not going to care at all. And you can't force anybody to care about what it is you're trying to do. For me, just coming out of high school, I had all these people hyping me up. I'm doing my own thing. I'm making my own music. Everybody's
like, yo, that's cool. You're gonna go far with that.
You know, hyping me up and just telling me that I have all of this potential. But then they're not really helping me do anything about it, because I'm no longer in high school. They're not going out of their way to do to show up for me and see me show out the way that I did, because I still feel like I killed that performance. I absolutely crushed it. Everybody crushed it. Like, seriously, that was a great show. I low-key feel really bad for the people that missed it. I feel bad for the ones that decided they just didn't want to show up. But I mean, it just goes to show that over time, I mean, people are just going to stop caring, because what's really going to happen is they're going to get as much as they can out of you until they have to go out of their way to get it. Because as soon as it gets to that point, they're done with you. You're just going to be thrown to the curb, and they're going to expect you to find a way to get somewhere else, which you will. You absolutely will. It's just going to take time. For me, it's still a process, you know? I mean, like, it's still just the beginning, you know? It's my first ever live concert, and that's what I even make music for as Olen. I'm working on beats right now for this new project that are going to be specifically for the live performance. You know, some of the music that I made for this show, that I put in my set for this show, like, I made it specifically for this. I made it specifically for that show. You know, so like, I'm never going to stop making music, because I'm never going to want to not perform. Like, I'm a showman. That's just what I do. I don't want this to be discouraging. I want this to have the exact opposite effect. I want it to be encouraging. You know, I want to just let you guys know and just put this out there as a warning, essentially. Just saying, don't set your hopes too high. Like, you can set the bar high for yourself and what it is you do with your craft, but you can't also expect as many people as you think should care to actually do it right away. Because I mean, I see it, you know, like all over the place, on SoundCloud, on Instagram. My numbers are going down. People are going to stop caring, because now it means that they don't have to be here to witness you do what it is you want to do. You're not representing anybody but yourself now. So that could be selfish for really any party involved. I mean, I made money from this show, but to be honest with you, I spent more money on it than I actually made. Rental fee was about almost twice as what I could have expected it. Granted, we ran the show over an hour longer than we expected, I think, so again, that's my fault. I didn't want to get on here and pass blame. I just wanted to put it out there that that feeling was there, you know, of shame, of guilt. There was a very heavy case of bitterness within me after this whole thing happened, but that was until I actually came to my senses and realized that it's not supposed to be perfect. You know, this week was an emotional roller coaster, because like Monday morning, I never felt more worthless in my entire life. Like, for the first time ever, I had nowhere to be, no one to be there with, and nothing to look forward to. I don't have a job, I don't have a license, I don't have anywhere to be. Like, I have no engagements. You know, I've just got me and my music, and that's really it. And I guess for any musician, you would think that would be enough, but it gets to a point where it just isn't, and you need something else. You need something to do about it. And that's the question that I offer to musicians who have been asked the question, like, are you absolutely serious about music? And their answer is 100%. So I offer as a rebuttal another question. Considering you're this serious about it, about the music and perfecting it as an art and as a craft, what are you going to do about it?
What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it?
What are you doing with your life that says that you're dedicating yourself to this craft? Because I mean, you can like to do the music, but are you actually good at it? And since you're actually good at it, do you actually have people seeing you do it? Do you have people looking at you like you actually can go far? And it goes beyond just potential. Are you actually acting on that potential that people say you have? Because if you're not going places with it, it's essentially meaningless. I guess that's why I felt the way that I did after this whole show, is because I didn't feel like I was going to get anywhere. But I had to realize that this was still an incline. You know, I'm still going to go up. It's still going to go up. The amount of money that I make from it, the amount of people I get to see out in the crowd watching the show. and getting them to be interactive, it's still only an upward motion from here. And as much as it took me forever to realize that, it feels like forever. I mean, by the grace of God, I'm going to be where it is I need to be soon. So with that in mind, I don't normally do this. I don't normally suggest people listen to a certain song, but like a song that hit me this week is a song that goes by the name of Even If. It's by a group called MercyMe. If you haven't heard the song, it's basically, it really hit me where it counts this week, because it's basically about being so consistent, about being faithful and fighting a good fight, but not feeling like you're just feeling like you're in a funk, you know, and like you're not really sure why it is you're doing what it is you're doing anymore, because nothing seems to be going right. So like, I totally encourage you guys to go listen to it. And like, I guess on that note, I'm gonna end the video. But yeah, this show was actually a great experience, I'm not even gonna lie. I know it's not gonna go down in history as the best show that I've ever done, as it's not supposed to, because it's the very first one that I ever did as Olen. But I can definitely say it's essential, and that it's been needing to happen for a long time. And I know that from here, it can only get better, you know? The quality of my performance, the quality of my music, the quality of just the entire process. Like, there's so many things that go into it that I can only get better at. And I can't wait until that actually happens. I love you guys.